What would you do if you were stranded in the middle of nowhere? How would you survive? Could you survive? Tonight we kick off a 7-day survival course as we put our minds and bodies to the test. What better place to test oneself than the wilds of southern Utah? From the crisp, high alpine setting of the Boulder Mountains to the barren, unforgiving deserts of the Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument, this will be our home for the next 7 days and 7 nights.
You start thinking, like, who would do this? Who would pay to do this to their bodies?
It all started months ago when my buddy Brian LaTurner, my producer Rick Oliveris, and I wanted to learn some survival skills. A quick internet search and we soon discovered the Boulder Outdoor Survival School. Welcome everybody. The oldest survival school in the nation, and it happens to be right here in Boulder, Utah.
You're going on a field course, and the field course is sort of our backbone. It's the course that it's our flagship course. It's a challenging course physically, emotionally, and also a very educational course with the skills that you learn.
Some of the things that they allow you to bring, how do you say this? It's pretty sparse, isn't it? Yeah. Our gear consists of a poncho, a knife, a small first aid kit, some water purification drops, a wool blanket, a few scarves, a cup, paracord, and luckily, a change of underwear. There's a lot of things that are not allowed on the course, and they are like sunglasses, we can't wear those, watches, cosmetics, radios, cell phones, pagers, flashlights. No tents, no sleeping bags, no matches, no GPS devices. This is truly roughing it.
It's about a personal challenge and a challenge to the group and a way to grow with this small community that you're with, and a way to discover really a lot of things about yourself.
12 strangers have signed up for our 7-day field course. Our first challenge is a run in downtown Boulder. It's not a race.
It is a race. He just said, hurry back.
Okay.
Winner.
Here we go. We got a mile and a half. Turns out I'm not in as good a shape as I thought.
That wasn't so tough, was it? Sucked.
If the field course is anything like the run, the 12 of us are in for a long week. Boss has a reputation of pushing people to their limits, even past their limits. I take a look at my fellow participants and wonder if I might be the first to quit.
My name is Bia Cameron. I am from Lexington, Kentucky, and I am 20 years old right now.
The youngest in our group, Bia, is a college student and a soccer player. She looks to be in great shape.
I am so excited. It's just a motivating thing for me.
Chris is a physical education teacher from California, and at 55 is the oldest. Turns out our group is very diverse. We have a 53-year-old doctor from Kentucky, a 28-year-old nurse from Dallas, a 32-year-old water treatment operator from Canada, a 41-year-old home health care director from Austin, Texas, a 33-year-old CEO from Portugal, and a couple who met in the Air Force and are engaged to be married.
What do your friends and family think about this?
They all think we're a little crazy.
No one signed up to have an easy, relaxing vacation type experience, I hope. Not that you can't have some of that, but there will be challenge, and that's kind of why you're here. So relish that challenge and enjoy it.
Little did we know we were about to lose any control we thought we had, and these 3 instructors will now control our lives.
So this is basically the size of your pack.
We're taught to fold our gear into blanket packs, then just before dark, we are driven to just under 9,000 feet and told to get out. It's time to hike.
You got there, buddy? Yeah. Buddy.
So our adventure begins, minus our blanket packs with all of our gear. Boss has confiscated those. All that we have is the clothes on our backs, a small 5x5 piece of cloth, 32 ounces of water, and maybe gloves and a hat. It's gonna be a long night.
Extremely cold. It's the only way I can really describe it.
After maybe 5 hours hiking by moonlight, we're told to find a place to camp. And soon the only thing to keep us warm is each other. We all soon subscribe to the notion of spooning with strangers.
You have a lot of time to reflect on your life and what you're, that's one of the things that seems like a lot of people come out of the course with, is they get a clarity on their life and what their life is about.
My thermometer reads a chilling 36 degrees.
That's it. It was cold last night.
I about froze to death is what happened last night.
Not very restful, I think I slept maybe 10 minutes.
I didn't sleep. My toes are frozen. but made it through the night, so can't complain.
After a sleepless night, the glow of a warm sun was a welcome sight. Our instructors,
This is basically just what we call a duff bed or debris bed.
show us their accommodations last night, and then we continue the phase of the course called Impact by hiking off the mountain and into the desert.
The hunger pangs started kicking in, and I was just weak.
By midday, we've hiked maybe 10 miles. It's been over 24 hours since any of us have had anything to eat. We stopped for water and for primitive lessons on survival, including how to make a fire with a bow drill. Even though this is a skill we'll need later in the course, some of our party is having a hard time staying awake.
Our mission is basically to preserve primitive and traditional skills and to expose people to those skills and to develop them as people in the outdoors. You don't know what's going to happen, and so we purposely have things that come up that you're not going to be expecting so that you can go through those experiences.
All right, we started when the sun was coming up, and we're still going, and the sun's on its way down.
I think the goal here is to break us. They're getting there.
How you girls doing? Look like you got a second wind.
Barely. Maybe she does. I think all I can smell is pepperoni pizza.
I think I'm meeting God on this trip.
It's crazy. Why did I think I wanted to do this?
It's not necessarily we're trying to just run people into the ground. It's we're trying to help people to see what their limits are so that they can push beyond that and realize that they're capable of so much more than they really think they are.
Now, I'm not going to tell you everything that happened on the course. You might want to try this someday, and knowing what takes place might lessen that experience. What I will tell you is this is one of the toughest physical and mental challenges I've ever done. Some of our group really struggled with this phase, throwing up, nauseous, but they fought through it and gained all of our respect.
Got a little sick back there a little bit ago. They say it's from the water. Oh, I feel a little bit better, but still a little nauseous.
You're not going to quit? No way,
Not quitting. Just maybe the last one making it there.
Good.
But I'm going to make it.
In the end, we all finished the impact phase and were rewarded with not only food and some rest, but the knowledge that we could hike much more than we previously thought. The question now is, can we translate this experience into the rest of our lives?
I think any time that you can go through a challenge and a struggle like this and get back to the basics, it's just reminds you and puts things into perspective of what's important and what's not important, and it's humbling.
This is our wiki up where we spent the night, and we were luckily fortunate enough that Boss allowed us to bring our Goal Zero powering system here to power up our batteries while we're on the trail. Hey, it looks like we've heading out for another adventure. I think it's a group adventure, so let's go find out what we've got going on.
It's basically broken into some group food that you'll share in a cook group.
After 40 hours and over 20 miles, we're finally getting some rations. Oatmeal for breakfast, nuts and raisins for lunch. For dinner, we'll split 2 onions, 2 potatoes, some rice, lentils, and flour between 4 of us. In all, it's about 1,500 calories per day.
How many people have used a topographic map?
After a quick topo map lesson, the group assigns 3 leaders.
All right, everyone meet back here in about 10 minutes with all your gear.
And then we're back on the trail.
Sort of another open meadow, right?
Right.
So we'll be going just like along this way.
Okay.
This time, however, the hike is only about 5 miles, and we will now lead the expedition as we scout for a nice place to camp. We just broke out of the high country a little bit to the beautiful, spectacular Henry Mountains here in the background. It's turned out to be a beautiful day. Wind's picking up, so hopefully we find a campsite pretty quick. We're taught to use the 5 W's when picking a good campsite. They are water, weather, wildlife, waste, and widowmaker. Finding someplace safe is important. The fact that we are finally setting up camp while there's still daylight means we'll be able to use some of the skills that we've been taught.
If you only have a single tree, or even if there's no trees, you can pitch the ridge line this way.
Some of the groups start building our shelters out of our ponchos. Our beds are built out of pine needles and leaves called duff, and others start making our first dinner in 3 nights.
Just trying to make everything really small so it'll cook fast.
There you go. Just like that.
My job is to make a fire with my newly made bow drill.
And stop. And now just slowly take your spindle out. Yeah, kind of tip it on its side and stick it underneath here. So it's...
Thanks. I think a lot of people probably come into it thinking they're going to be just fending for themselves, and it always turns out that it's really about the group and working together, and that's the best courses are courses where the group works together and takes care of each other.
It was really nice to actually have daylight to be able to see to build a shelter. You know, now that we actually know how to do that stuff.
Yeah. In just the first 30 hours of our course, we hiked over 20 miles with no food. It was one of the most physical and mentally draining things I've ever done.
We don't have toilet paper out here, so there are a few things that you can use. Sagebrush is great. It's nice and soft. It's antibacterial.
Our guides give us a lesson on personal hygiene. Rocks, spruce cones, and sticks will have to suffice.
This is why we use such small pieces of wood, because it just makes it that much easier and that much quicker to actually crush the coals.
We're taught to have a positive impact on the environment. This means we'll crush our coals from our fires and disperse the nutrients back into the bushes and the trees.
We're trying to provide a greater awareness of what's out there, you know, what the earth really is, and how, you know, we as a culture lived at one time, and trying to kind of help people to be able to kind of go back to that and see essentially their roots.
Your knife out here is it's like your purse, your wallet, your car keys.
We know that soon our instructors will send us out alone for a 24-hour solo test. The skills we learn now, we'll need then.
A good spindle is straight and about as long as the distance between your thumb to your pinky finger.
We're shown what type of sage wood to collect to build a bow drill, so we'll be able to make a fire. In a silent demonstration, our guides show us how to make a spindle, a hearth, a bow, and then how to use them. Now, it's up to us.
If I can't do it, then I'm going to eat gorp, so I'm hoping that I can accomplish this.
Everyone is intent on getting fire. No fire, no hot meal. No warmth, maybe no survival.
And we lost it. I'm glad they invented matches. They're so much quicker, you just go and you got flame.
Go.
Yeah.
Holy I'm about to cry. That's
cool.
That was amazing.
Our next primitive skill,
I would actually have my bait tied on the back right here,
is learning how to construct what is called a figure 4 deadfall trap.
A couple things you want to think about when planning on trapping is obviously where and what kind of game are you going for. Little animal comes in, starts chewing on this right here.
A mouse might sound disgusting, but after living off of lentils, rice, flour, and oatmeal, a little meat would be downright delectable. Speaking of food,
So this is lemonade berry.
Tobias shows us what plants we're able to consume. We've been living off about 1,200 calories a day. Anything edible has our attention.
They were real popular amongst native peoples as a food source, added in as a beverage, and also just added into food. Yeah, you can put them in the water. You can just kind of suck on them and spit out the seeds.
Let's try them.
Mm-hmm. Kind of good. So if I can go through this, I feel like I can go through anything. And I did it, I think. I think I'm gonna make it through.
This is your downstream boundary.
Nothing below that?
Nothing below that.
Okay.
Enjoy yourselves.
Thanks.
You got wall to wall.
Bye, Adam.
A little bit of alone time, yeah. Time with your thoughts and out in beautiful nature.
I guess it's just you and me for the next day. Pretty exciting. Let's go see if we can find us a place to sleep.
All right, I picked my camp up above here, above the river. I think it'll be warmer up here tonight.
And then to make things better, I put some duff or just some oak leaves down on the bottom here, and then I'm building a little small tent out of my poncho. And should be pretty warm. I'm pretty confident about that. Next step though is fire. I was successful a couple nights ago making fire, but then I tried again with my bow and drill and with friction fire and wasn't successful. So I won't lie, I don't want to eat cold food tonight. So I've got to figure this out, and I've got to make sure I get it done. And the sun's going down quick, so I got to hurry. Success.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a big relief to get the fire going. Whew. Now I can concentrate on food while I'm working on my dinner.
Okay, my trap is set.
My buddy Brian is trying to catch his.
If there's a mouse right there, I get some meat, some protein tomorrow, and I need it. Morning number 4. Just woke up.
Everyone seemed to get something different from this course. On the solo, I was able to find an alcove, reflect on my family, my life, and where it's headed. KSL Outdoors producer Rick was able to rest his feet, write in his journal, and get mentally prepared for our final 3 days. My buddy Brian, he was able to reflect on the changes he's had in his life and had some advice I think that all of us can use.
My wife passed away a little more than a year ago, and just since then, I mean, I come to realize that, you know, life can be taken from you at any time. Enjoy life, because I know she and I, we said for a lot of years, let's, you know, we'll do this someday, we'll do that someday, and next thing you know, she couldn't do it, you know, and so it's a real bummer, you know, when that happens. And so I guess at this point in my life, I feel like I'm living for both of us.
Good job, guys. Just before dark, we met back up with our fellow survivors.
I was really happy with the day. I'm exhausted, but I'm happy and looking forward for what's coming next.
I mean, I looked at that as a day to recuperate. It was restful.
I learned that I can stay in the woods by myself. That was huge. I mean, I was pretty terrified of that, the solo portion. So that was a big deal, and I wasn't scared, you know. So that was kind of a surprise.
Well, the group just got the news. The guides are leaving us. So that means we have to use all the skills that we've learned the last 5 days to try and save ourselves. They've drawn on a map, showed us where we need to go. It's just time for us to perform.
Be careful out there.
All right, see ya, have fun.
Where'd they go?
I have no idea. They probably went to Pizza Hut.
Early the next day, we awake, break camp.
We need to appoint leaders, and we need to listen to those people.
Then head out for what turns out to be a 19-mile hike through the gulch.
We have quite a group of people here. I mean, there are talented people on this trip, and I'm so impressed. I'm just honored to be a part of it.
Considering what we've been facing, we've improved a lot since the first day. Like, you see the difference, people are just up to anything now.
About midway into our journey, Dean, the doctor, aggravates an old Achilles injury, and our pace slows to a crawl.
I tripped somehow and it pulled my calf muscle and Achilles.
Dean may have been slow, but he completed the hike and gained all of our respect.
There were so many times where I was hoping he'd be like, yes, can I sit down? Because I wanted to sit down. Yeah. So it was good. I mean, I really give him a lot of credit for doing that.
Would you recommend this course to anybody?
Depends on who. Initially, I'd say no.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would say get in the best shape of your life first, and then come out here.
This is not something you can go recommending just to anybody. It's extremely challenging. It's more than that. It puts you to your brink, and I think it takes a certain type of person to be able to go to that place.
It definitely gets to you. You definitely have to almost remind yourself that this is only 7 days.
I'm happy now that it's over, but I would never do it again, for sure.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Describe to someone how tough that is to do what you did.
It's emotionally, it's mentally and physically the most draining thing that you will ever do in your entire life.
maybe tomorrow or the next day after I've thought about it and stuff, I'll be happy I did it.
In 7 days, we've conquered 50 miles with very little food. We've endured bitter cold, scorching heat. We've been hungry, dirty, ornery, even scared. But all 12 of us finished. We survived with no cell phones, no computers, no high-tech camping gear, and we learned to forget about our problems back home and focus on each other and ourselves.
It made me a stronger person. It made me see that there's more important things in life than a bad breakup, and that life goes on, and you know, it just, I feel much stronger going back emotionally.
The biggest lesson is about expectations and controlling them, not having them high or low, just go for what it is.
It solidified for me that Dan is definitely the man that I want to marry.
I think any time that you can go through a challenge and a struggle like this and get back to the basics, it's just reminds you and puts things into perspective of what's important and what's not important, and it's humbling. And I think we all need that, not just once in our life. I think we have to revisit these type of things over and over again because we're human.
The knowledge is very helpful, but it's the mental stuff.
I stink. I know the rest of you stink. we need to go get a shower, but Jesse, Tobias, Perry, you guys put us through the ringer. We hated you at points. You know, we appreciated you at other points, and we laughed, and we even cried with you guys. So we sure appreciate everything, and that's what this is about, though.
Yep. Sounds like we did our job well then.
Yeah. Good deal. We'll sure appreciate it, and hope everybody at home enjoyed watching our 2-week episode, and we came away with one thing, right guys? At least we came away with a motto. I think Dan came up with it. What is it? Mental toughness. Yeah, mental toughness. Whatever that means. I'm Adam Eco, reminding you to get out with your family and friends and make some memories. Until next weekend, good night.